What is going on, everyone? The clock is ticking. We are in year 3 of CJ Stroud and D'Amico Ryans. 2 seasons, 10 wins, back to back AFC South division champions, back to back dominant performances at home in the wild card. It's time for this Houston Texans team to start separating themselves, start putting themselves in the conversations with the Baltimore Ravens, Buffalo Bills, and Kansas City Chiefs. We are less than 30 days away from NFL free agency, and the Houston Texans desperately need a wide receiver opposite of Nico Collins. I'm not going to lie. The Houston Texans need a wide receiver 3 and a wide receiver 4. I have little to no faith in Xavier Hutchinson and John Mechie. I want the Houston Texans to not only address the wide receiver position in free agency, but in the draft also. What we are going to do today is look at this year's free agent wide receivers. Who should we be taking a look at? Who should we think about bringing in to help get this Houston Texans team to places they never gone before? And that is a AFC championship and a Super Bowl. Hell, they haven't even got themselves a divisional round win. But ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and take a look at the list. My name is Ruben Calvillo, and this is the 713 Houston Sportcast, where I drop daily Houston Texans content. So make sure you guys are following me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for the latest news, rumors, and updates. This episode is brought to you and powered by BetUS. They're giving you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. On your second and third deposit, it becomes a 125% bonus. Promo code YouTube150 gets that for you. Also, go on BetUS's website, live 24-hour betting, 24-hour casino. Guys, BetUS, where the game begins. The first wide receiver that I want to talk about, but if I could be honest, I have no wants for him to be on the Houston Texans in 2025, but DeAndre Hopkins. I've seen a lot of chatter about him in the comments and on Twitter. A lot of Houston fans want to see a reunion between the Houston Texans and D-Hop. Now, after the Super Bowl, we saw reports that DeAndre Hopkins was going to retire, but he quickly shot those down. When you look at DeAndre Hopkins' stats this year, guys, he played in 16 games for both Tennessee and Kansas City, 56 catches, 610 yards, 5 touchdowns. That does not sound like DeAndre Hopkins. Now, I will say this. The situation here in Houston is perfect for a wide receiver like DeAndre. Past his prime, maybe he's not the number one guy no more, but can be a reliable number 2 option. And that's the role that I will see DeAndre Hopkins, be here if he did indeed want to come back to the Houston Texans. Nico Collins is the number 1 wide receiver right now. Now, guys, once again, I'm not a fan of this. I wish DeAndre Hopkins the very best. He deserves his legacy that he created here in Houston, but I will be looking elsewhere if I am general manager Nick Caserio. Now, the second wide receiver that I want to talk about and one that I would be excited about is Darius Slayton from the New York Giants. Now, Darius Slayton is going to be 28 years old at the start of the year. What did he do last season for the G-Man? Well, he played in 16 games, 39 receptions, 573 yards. He also had 2 touchdowns. His stats last year: appeared in 17 games, 50 catches, 770 yards, 4 tutties. The year prior, 2022, 16 games played, 46 catches, 724 yards, 2 touchdowns. Darius Slayton has put up respectable numbers with some god-awful quarterbacks, and I know for an absolute fact Darius Slayton wants to get out of New York. Come to Houston, and I promise you, we are going to see some better football from someone like Darius Slayton. CJ Stroud will be the best quarterback he's played with in his career. The hunger is there for Darius Slayton. He hasn't done anything with the New York Giants. He's going to come into a situation where the Houston Texans are not only coming off of back-to-back playoff appearances, but goals of getting to an AFC championship and a Super Bowl and so forth. I think Darius Slayton could be a fantastic addition to this Houston Texans team. I think offensive coordinator Nick Kelly would be excited to add this type of speed opposite of Nico Collins. And hey, if we do sign Darius Slayton, I'm going to go ahead and say he might have his first 1,000-yard season if fully healthy. But Darius Slayton, I am on board. Let's make it happen. The third wide receiver that I want to talk about, and I think this has a legit chance of happening, and that is the Houston Texans bringing in Los Angeles Rams wide receiver Tutu Atwell. Now, why this makes sense? The Houston Texans just got Nick Caley coming from the Los Angeles Rams, where he was a tight ends coach and pass game coordinator. Who knows this system better than Tutu Atwell? 25 years old, and this would not break the bank at all for the Houston Texans. And you know, Tutu was the number 3 wide receiver behind Cooper Kupp, behind Puka Nacua. Let's look at his numbers in 2024. In 17 games played, he caught 42 receptions for 562 yards, no tutties. Last season, in 16 games, he caught 39 passes for 483 yards, 3 tutties. And in 2022, he appeared in 13 games, 18 catches, 298 yards, 1 touchdown. I think Tutu fits this Houston Texans team well. They need a slot wide receiver. They need a good route runner and someone with some speed to him, and that's exactly what Tutu Atwell has. And who knows what type of production we would get from Tutu if he is the number 2 wide receiver, the legit number 2 wide receiver for this Houston Texan offense. But I think this could be a low risk, high reward situation for the Houston Texans. Maybe Nick Caley and general manager Nick Caserio have already had a conversation about someone like Tutu Atwell, but I am all over this. I would want to see Atwell a Houston Texan in 2025. The fourth wide receiver that I wanted to talk about, and I could also see this being a realistic option for the Houston Texans, but could be a potential explosion in terms of production, and that is free agent wide receiver Elijah Moore, who last played for the Cleveland Browns the previous 2 years, the 2 years before that with the New York Jets. 2 horrible organizations, but still Elijah Moore has put up numbers, respectable numbers. 2021, we'll go all the way back to his rookie year. 43 catches, 5 touchdowns, 538 yards. 2022, 37 catches, 446 yards, 1 tutty. He played in 16 games that year. 2023, played in 17 games, 59 catches, 640 yards, 2 touchdowns. This season, all 17 games were played, 538 yards, 1 touchdown. A slot wide receiver, someone who could make things happen in open space. I needed that here in Houston. We've actually been asking for Elijah Moore for quite some time now, me and Harley. But this would be a perfect situation for Elijah Moore to, really take a step forward in this league. He is only 24 years old. He's going to be 25 once the season starts. He's in the middle of his prime. This will not cost you a lot, but I think this would be a deal where we could look back and say, man, I can't believe you got Elijah Moore for that contract. One of the things that I love here is the full season played this season, full season played last year, and 16 games in 2022. Health has just been so far away from the Houston Texans the past 2 seasons. We need some guys with some history of being there on Sundays, week in and week out. Elijah Moore, I think, would be a fantastic get for the Houston Texans. I see fireworks. You guys let me know what you thought about these 4 wide receivers that I brought up: DeAndre Hopkins, Darius Slayton, Tutu Atwell, and Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore, I like the most. Very young, and I could see him being just dynamic here in Houston with CJ Stroud and new offensive coordinator Nick Caley. For more Houston Texans content, you guys know what to do. Feel free and follow me for more. Go Houston. You guys have a very blessed day. Episode brought to you and powered by BetUS.